Hey there, fire signs. Welcome to the middle of August. Let's see what the universe wants you to know. Protection. I'm pretty sure you had that in the same card in the same position last time. And present. Happiness. Looking good. Might have had this card too. Refuge. So yeah, some beautiful combinations there. It's looking like you're moving out of a time of protection into some more just free joy, which is great. These two have a very similar energy though, so we'll see how that unfolds. Eight of Cups, bit of a movement, new direction, yeah, going through a bit of a dark night of the soul and finding some authority with the Emperor. And the World card, showing sort of a sense of things coming together. Okay, a bit of a tricky card in the heart of the reading, Seven of Swords. We'll see how that comes up. Finding some perspective with the Queen of Swords. And in the future needing to kind of pause, reflect. New connection. Interested to see how that forms. And another Ace, new insight or new ideas, new brainstorming. So yeah, it's pretty strong so far. I'm interested to see how, yeah, these ones, that angle journeys from, yeah, the Seven of Swords can be a card of a bit of trickery in the mind. Yeah, we'll see how that forms up. On the horizon behind you, there's been a time of protection. So in this card, there's sort of this beautiful, subdued, dark wood. I feel like that resonates totally with the Eight of Cups here, which is usually a card of something just really isn't hitting the spot anymore. And so it's a card of redirection and rediscovery. But it usually does entail a journey, and that journey can be fraught with uncertainty and confusion. So I feel like you've been in a kind of protected space to allow that to happen. Maybe it hasn't always felt protected, but overall it's allowed you to move through what you've been moving through. And there has been some moon energy with this, and the moon energy is really just stepping into the unknown essentially, and there is potential for fears to arise, and then they also become part of the healing process as well, is integrating those fears, getting to know those fears, and in a way you taking up more space than them, which is the overall hope. I feel like you've been doing that because you've stepped into this Emperor energy, which is where you've taken more command of your internal world and then therefore your external world. So it's a bit of that boss energy that's come in. I think that's the most positive aspect of the Emperor, is that there's a sense of alignment. As you can see with this male figure, it's very grounded, stern, and in alignment, and really knows himself. So there's kind of a beautiful process that's been undertaken here. I feel like it's been fruitful because in your present, coming up really strong with this happiness card. So it's quite a beautiful bluebird energy. So it might be that joy is wanting to come in more, and are you letting it? Are you allowing it? Are you leaving room for it? They're the questions maybe you need to ask yourself at this time if you're not yet feeling this bluebird spirit energy. So the World card shows that I'm just getting a sense that something is wanting to close and complete, and it might be on the periphery of your awareness, and this is asking you to bring it into your awareness more. So there's a kind of like a knot that wants to be tied, and the World card's showing that it's ready to be tied, but often we can get in the way of that, maybe not always consciously, but there might be a subconscious holding on to what was, and maybe that is you know, still just moving through this moon energy. So I feel like there's an opportunity here, a really amazing opportunity here to find more bliss and happiness, but you just need to tie the knot on something. That's kind of the imagery I'm getting. And there's a wreath here which you know, is creating a full circle. So let that create a full circle, tie that knot, complete, done, honor it, celebrate it, let it go, whatever needs to be done. In the heart of the reading, we've got the Seven of Swords. So in this figure, in this picture, we've got this figure here who's got these swords and he's running away. So there's a bit of a sneaky element. There's kind of the polka dots though. So there's a sense of play, the polka dots on his shirt there. I feel like for you, there is some residue fatigue or being used to, I think it's just tying in with this card of needing to let something, and there's kind of a sort of a rabid dog energy of like wanting to still chew on something but it's sort of over and done with. So bring in that more light-hearted nature of yours and really try and release it in a humorous, playful kind of way. This card can also augur a sense of trickery coming from others as well. So that can obviously re-trigger, reactivate some of this more self-protective side of you, but just really come back to the polka dots. Really try and do that kind of a keto thing where there's, you know, maybe some shit energy coming at you, and really try and use the wisdom you've gained and also the detachment you've gained and the depersonalization you've gained to help tie the knot on that, and not really let it get in you and create a chink in your armor, but to sort of fly over you. So I think even though this card, you know, it might be fraught with some confusion and trickery and other people who are being quite cunning maybe, or just in their own vortex, and that potentially trying to pull you into a vortex, there's kind of a lightness to it if you let it. And that's just knowing where you stand now, where your seat of power is now. And then you're not going to be drawn into it, and you can have some of that kind of humorous detachment to it. Yeah? Another question with that card is, that's just come up, is where are you carrying too much? Where are you invested in some outcomes in other people's lives too much? And maybe it's time to just come back to your own sense of completion and your own journey and your own healing. The Queen of Swords underneath that does show an elevation that's possible. That looks as though you're rising above this, and you're getting clear sight, a bit of a hawkeye vision, a bird's eye view, and once again that kind of cool, healthy objectivity and detachment. So moving through with that happiness, I feel like it's going to create a sense of refuge. It's almost like you're actually going to get the protection and the shielding that you deep down want, rather than being locked in a self-protective survival element. So with that, the Hangman is showing I'm just getting this, you really need to drop, just over-investment in the outside world, other people's stories, random energy that's bombarding you. It's asking for you to really cleanse your soul of it, wash your hands of it. It's a very transcendent card, but it's not that lofty denial, aversion, like no toxic people. It's very much about coming back to like your own heart and letting that be your refuge. And at the end of the day, that is the best refuge we've got. And from that place forward, we can ripple out more positivity, self-assuredness, and some of this Emperor strength that can come in as well. So yeah, drop the care factor where you don't really need it. I often ask myself, if I've only got so many fucks to give, is this worth it? And that comes off The Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson, I think it was. And it just looked at it as like rather than having this infinite amount of mental energy, it's like, no, you've only got a certain amount of mental or heart energy. And, you know, that's where discernment can be really amazing. And that's another form of wisdom, is to kind of evaluate, is this really worth my care? That's only going to open your heart up more. And the Ace of Cups here is showing there's a heart opening element, and it's almost like you want to really dip into this bliss and this happiness, but there's just a bit of work to do to untangle things that aren't really you. Yeah, so I'm kind of getting this ability of yours, if you really want to, is to create your own world and to live in that, and to shield that, create a refuge in there as well. And then you're going to experience more emotional depth, and you'll be able to gift that onto others as well. But it'll be a natural osmosis that happens rather than you trying too hard to share your joy. It's just going to be natural. It's going to ripple out. And then from that place of finding your heart and the refuge in your heart, new connections can happen, new connections with aspects of yourself as well, new connections with your own joy. And from that place, I feel like there's just going to be this like clarity, a peace of mind that's going to crack through. And it's sort of cleansing this. So this can be a little bit too, trying to solve too many problems, trying to activate the mind to sort something out, whereas this is actually just like going back to scratch, square one, letting the windscreen wipers do a little squeaky clean, and finding new inspiration through that as well. Awesome reading. We'll see how the clarity cards go. So with that world energy, yeah, so we've got the Prince of Cups. So this is very much about moving forward with your heart as the main priority. What does your heart want to do? I know this sounds a bit lofty, but it's like every day just ask yourself, what do I want to do today? I know that's sounds quite simple, but it is actually quite simple. And often we wake up and we've just got this bombardment of yesterday or someone else, or the phone starts going off, and before we know it, we're just sort of sucked into this vortex. And so a really beautiful way to reground and to come back into your heart space is to just genuinely ask, what does my heart want to do today? That's something you can add on top of that. Or another thing, what does my inner child want to do today? You know, if you've got a day off work, that can be a really beautiful way to bring in that bluebird spirit, that bliss. And that's going to help you tie that knot and really move into a better space of celebrating a new chapter that's coming in, rather than kind of being pegged back in the old. So with that Seven of Swords, we've got the Six of Cups, which is showing there's really a gift that wants to come through, and you've just got to let yourself have it. So yeah, essentially this is showing that there's beautiful things on the way. We just got to make sure we've got space for them and empty out the trash. With that Queen of Swords, we've got the Queen of Cups. Beautiful card. So this is showing that even though the Queen of Swords is asking you to kind of rise above and detach, also asking you to value your feelings. And so these two together create the best kind of progression, transcendence. Too much air, we can deny our own heart, deny our own feelings. Too much water, and we can kind of get caught up in maybe not the primary feeling that we're feeling, but the secondary feeling, which usually has the story attached to it. So it's a bit of a wounded kind of feeling. So with these two, you can clarify your emotional space, and that puts the mind at ease. And without all that problem solving going on, or needing to be too projected into the outside world, you can kind of naturally just enter into this kind of bliss zone. It's sort of like a higher stratosphere. So yeah, just really work on clarifying your inner world. Then the mind will relax. And then when the mind's relaxed, you naturally just feel good. So with that Hanging Man energy, we've got the King of Swords. The King of Swords is quite a strong, similar to the Emperor, but quite a strong cut-through sort of energy. I feel like there's a very strong loyalty energy to this king, and I think with this Hanging Man, you need to really be loyal to yourself at this time, and obviously loyal to people that are lifting you up at the moment. But people who are maybe struggling in your life, just don't kind of worry about them yet. Try and be a little bit more, draw a line in the sand and protect yourself and find that refuge. They're going to be okay. They don't need you. They don't need you to care about every little thing or worry about them and their journey. So sometimes we get caught up in other people's stuff because we're avoiding this deeper connection to ourselves as well. But this king, I think, is saying, be strategic, set things up for yourself where you can dip into this space, create time away, create time that's just yours if you can. Yeah, so just be a little bit more assertive around that, and really let yourself yeah, just hang and pause and reflect and heal. With that Ace of Cups, got the Ten of Swords, so quite a different energy. So with this Ace of Cups, which is looking for more deeper emotional experiences and connection, we've got the Ten of Swords. So the Ten of Swords is about really letting something die in terms of beliefs or thinking patterns, and it's ready to go, and you know it's ready to go. So there's a kind of block here, but it's on its last legs. So all you got to do is just give it that extra nudge, and a lot more will open up for you in terms of that influx of fulfillment. So there can be more fulfillment, but really need to do what you can to relax the heart and the body, and then the mind will relax. Often because we're in our heads so much, we try and solve everything from this place, and it's just impossible. The mind can't solve issues of the mind. It's like in itself. So I think the overall vibe I'm getting from this reading is that you really need to kind of, yeah, nurture your heart and protect it. And from that space, anything's possible. With this Ace of Swords, so a bit of a breakthrough in terms of perspective and insight and maybe some new ideas. We've got the Prince of Swords, so, sorry, Prince of Discs, my bad. And it's a bit of a slow energy. So it's kind of on this bull, he's herding along. There can be some hesitation traditionally with this card, but I don't feel like that at the moment. I just think there's basically just a message here that let things organically happen. You don't need to rush them. I think a lot of beautiful things are going to come from being in your heart more and protecting that, and so the breakthroughs and new perspectives are going to just organically unfold. So no need to rush that. I think there's a beauty in trying to live your life as a meditation, and this card can really speak to that. So beautiful reading. I'm really excited for you, and the work that you can do, or the surrender you can do in terms of letting this happiness come in and this bluebird spirit and finding refuge. So it's a gorgeous card. She's in her garden. It's almost like this is where you were and she's not there and then now she's there. So let yourself be in your own blissful garden, whether it's both internal and external, one or the other. Doesn't matter. Find it and let yourself have it. Awesome reading, fire signs. And yeah, if you really like this, hit the like button. It just means it gets to more people. Love to hear your feedback, helps me keep going. And yeah, if you know anyone who could use some inspiration at the moment, please share it onwards. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time.